All right, family. Peace to the chat, peace to the chat. I got an expert in the building tonight. I got one of them brothers that's sharper than a needle on the show tonight. Yeah, I love brothers and sisters that sharpen their field, their level of expertise. We all have things that we're sharp and we're amazing at, and we should all focus on it. Peace to everybody in the chat, everybody tuning in, everybody that's tuning in at a later time. We're going to start the show in a second. Make sure you all hit the like button. Very important. Everybody hit the like button. Tell your friends and family we're live. Let me get to this quick commercial, and we'll be right back, family. All right, let's get to this quick commercial. Be right back.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning feeling stressed. Sometimes I wake up feeling like I never slept. Sometimes I don't wanna wake up cause I'm depressed. But today when I woke up I felt blessed. Yes, I'm thankful I could breathe. Thankful for the breath, thankful for the heart beating in my chest. Superman S, I fell in love with life, not afraid of death. Fell in love with life, fell in love with sex. I'm a sinner, I confess. I love my cold, melanated flesh. It absorbs, it protects like a bulletproof vest. I kill all my demons and then I ask who's next. I'm the son of Osiris, I'm coming for the suplex. God is blood, God is great. I thank Him for the food on my plate. I just ate mashed potatoes and steak. Victory is sweet, come get a taste. The flavor in your air is Big Mac with the bass. Been broke, can't break, got money in the bank. Every day someone dies, someone's born. Get a cake, set a date, get a suit, get a tie, get a date. God is always on time, never late. Celebrate, get in shape, meditate, levitate, elevate. Men destroy, men create, real women menstruate. And the sound I make emanates my life. And the song I sing celebrates my life. Celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Celebrate today, celebrate tonight. Celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Everything was dark, God invented light. Everybody celebrate your life, celebrate your life. Celebrate today, celebrate tonight. Accepted all my wrongs, celebrate the right. When I die, celebrate my death, see what heaven's got. I feel glorious, victorious. The metal dangle on my...
All right. Without further ado, welcome back to the show, my brother Akhu. Welcome back, my brother.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure having you on here, my brother. And a quick announcement. I see everybody's talking about the intro song. I'm glad y'all love it. Somebody said, how can we get access to the full song? Actually, it will be released this Saturday on streaming services. And we're actually celebrating the release of this album on streaming services with this gentleman right here. And what does Brother Rich mean by that? Well, let me let y'all know. We're having a party in the ATL this Saturday night. I want all y'all to come out. March 9th, doors opening up at 8 p.m. It's the Holy Ghost 3 album streaming release party. It's at 400 Loyola Drive Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia, 30336. Tickets are available at the door only. They are not online. They are at the door. They are $30. So what do I mean by Raku's going to be there? Raku's going to have his booth. I got a marketplace. We got the music room, the dance room. Outside that, we got the marketplace. Raku's going to have a station where he's going to be doing mini readings. It's going to be fire. People going to be getting mini readings, and then they're going to go dance. And then they're going to get a shot of honey in the eye from KT. Then after that, they're going to get some smoothie from Blue Pill. Then after they get the smoothie from Blue Pill, they're going to go in the music room and listen to Celebrate Your Life while they're celebrating their life. Come on, what's better than that? Brother Rich is bringing the party to Atlanta. Ain't no party like a black magic party. Ain't no party like a black magic party.
I can vouch for that.
Because a black magic party, though. Stop. Oh, we gonna be lit, y'all. We gonna be lit. But shout Ra, I want to thank you for coming through this Saturday. You're gonna have your booth. Yo, Ra, I remember when you had your booth in St. Francis and you had a line through the whole hallway, bro. This dude, we got a lecture going on inside with 600 people. This dude, Raku, got a line in the hallway like it was a concert. Like this dude is a superstar when it comes to this stuff. So shout out to Ra. I know everybody gonna enjoy themselves. I know you're gonna do your thing. Yeah, the Henny Sea Moss is gonna be in the building. I'm gonna go light on the heavy on the Sea Moss, but but the heady sea balls will be there. Light on the heady, heavy on the sea balls. But shout out to everybody coming through. It's going to be a party. It's going to be lit this Saturday. With that being said, let's start. Oh, and by the way, just real quick, Dr. B Serious will be there. Professor Griff will be there. KT the Arts Degree will be there. Blue Pill, Red Pill. It's going to be amazing, y'all. It's going to be amazing. See everybody there. I will be talking about it more throughout the week, but let's start the show. Rod, you know what's funny, Rod? Talking to brothers like you and people that's into this science, it's funny and it's amazing that individuals, it seems like they could get away with shit, right? And they're untouchable. And then it's like the seasons change cosmically, and everything that used to work for them and they could get away with, it seems like it just don't work no more. So we seen individuals do all types of crazy shit. And now all of a sudden it's like, damn, we look at them like a whole, it's like they don't even have the same spirit no more. So this shit gotta be cosmic. This shit, we're gonna talk about a lot tonight, but that just is just strange to me how the cosmos work, how this shit work. And it's like how you talk about with destiny. It's like when it's your time, I guess. But right, let's start out with this conversation. We're seeing the mighty fall. We're seeing technology advance. We're seeing artificial intelligence. We're seeing so much, Rod. Start this thing out for me, Rod. What's going on cosmically speaking with this new age matrix that we are encountering, my brother?
All right. Let me break it down in sections here, because that was a whole lot.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, let me make sure you can hear me. You can hear me well?
Yeah, you good. You good, Rod?
All right. So let's start with the mighty have fallen. Because Aquarius, well, the zodiac sign of Aquarius represents falls from great heights. All right.
Yeah.
Capricorn represents falls, but not from great heights. It's like falling down the steps, tripping and falling on the ground or falling off of a step ladder. That's a Capricorn thing. Or falling out of the sky, falling off of a skyscraper, falling from a great height is an Aquarius thing. Okay.
Right.
Your Capricorn represents the lesser impact, and Aquarius represents the greater impact. Okay. Capricorn is like somebody on a bicycle running into you, and Aquarius is like a locomotive train running into you. All right. So while Pluto, it's all about the transit of Pluto through these two signs that we see the mighty falling. Capricorn on part A represents authority figures. So for the last 18 years, we've been watching the corruption of authority figures come to the fore in the media. And this is given indication, not caused by, but given indication by the transit of Pluto through the sign of Capricorn. This brought down the corporations, the corruption in organized bodies, basically, because Capricorn points to organized bodies. Now, Aquarius points to the people as well, to the people collectively, mankind collectively, as well as the different classes and statuses of people, okay? It also points to nations. So, with reference to how the mighty are falling, all right? You have to take into consideration the idea that the sign of Aquarius also opposes the sign of Leo, which represents celebrities and figureheads. And it's more of an individualized designation when you're using the sign of Leo. Leo also represents children. So because of this great opposition and this great transit from the energy of Pluto, or the indications of Pluto traveling through these two places, we saw corporations fall, and now it's time for the individuals to stand above the collective to meet their reckoning, especially if they've been engaged in activity that Pluto gives indication to. Aquarius is artificial light. Okay, Leo represents the sun. It represents flame of fire, light that is emitted from natural sources. Aquarius represents electricity and therefore artificial light and artificiality. So when Pluto comes in here, it's going to shed light on all of the people who've been acting in an artificial, fake, unseen capacity Aquarius is also the sign of knowledge and knowing. So Pluto, being the planet of transformation, is going to bring it from a point of, as opposed to being informed and instructed like Capricorn, we move into Aquarius, and now the ability to know and realize the actual truth is freed, is heightened, is highlighted. So a lot of the things that are going on, that were going on, involving children, child pornography, child abuse, child recklessness, dealing with children, period, and dealing with the recreational mindset. We also see it in terms of how music is and television is going to be eventually AI'd out, right? So they fall because Pluto gives an indication that exposure to all these underpinnings, to all of these fake, conniving, corrupted underpinnings are coming to the fore. So therefore, because we live in a world amongst a collective of people whose nature tends to corruption, power corrupts, absolutely. Okay. Then we're going to come into a time where these people who have for the longest been able to exercise all kinds of atrocities and violations of human nature and violations of societal norm, they're going to have to confront these things. And this is what Pluto through Aquarius represents. So we see that these people in the place of power, like P. Diddy, okay, I'm gonna mention names, like Sean Puffy Combs. Okay,
I didn't know you was mentioning names.
Well,
but Rob, real quick, since you mentioned him, are some signs affected more severely? Because you got the scorpion on your hat.
Sir. Yes,
He's
sir.
a Scorpio.
Yes,
so
sir.
Are some signs affected more severely? Talk to me.
Well, they are, because of the universal geometry upon which this science is based. You have what we call easy aspects, which are composed of the sextile, which is a 60-degree angle, the trine, which is a 120-degree angle. In other words, when in the circle or in the arc of the sky, we see one planet 120 degrees from another planet, the harmonics between these two indications are working together, and they're working well in harmony. All right. At 60 degrees, at 120 degrees, and sometimes at 180 degrees. All right. These things are working in harmony, and they're working together. They blend well together. An example of this was demonstrated by Colisco in the early 1900s, late 1800s. There was an example where they experimented with metals that are sensitive to certain planetary motion. So gold and silver, which is the sun and the moon, would not mix well or mesh well at a 90-degree angle, at a sometimes at a 180-degree angle, sometimes at a 150 or 210-degree angle from each other. That it seemed like an invisible hand would keep these two metals from coalescing. When the same application was attempted under harmonious aspects, under the 60-degree aspect, under the opposition, under the conjunction, under the 120-degree trine, then they were more easily blended. It's like sometimes you mix your little drink and you still see that some of it is not diluted. And sometimes you mix your drink, you see all of it was diluted immediately. It was diluted easily. So this is how the planets work. So because Pluto is moving through Aquarius, the hard points from Aquarius are Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo, and sometimes Virgo and Cancer. All right. So these people born under these signs or born under the indications of these signs are the ones who are going to feel the impact of this indication more so than others. And Puffy is a Scorpio, and he has Jupiter and Venus conjunct in the sign of Scorpio, which attests to his wealth, to his vast influence, to his manipulability, to his conniving ways, to his outlandish sexual activities as well. So because Pluto is now moving into a 90-degree angle to those planets in his chart, the most two fortuitous, the strongest indications of what we call benefits are Jupiter and Venus. Well, because Pluto is throwing a 90-degree angle, he's like throwing daggers at his benefits. So therefore, it's time for him to pay the piper.
Wow.
See, karmically, this is how it works. This is what we call karma. Had he been doing well, I suppose, or not causing any harm to people's lives and careers, then this Pluto angle wouldn't be so drastic. He would still have to make adjustments. I, being a Scorpio sun, just broke my foot 6 weeks ago. Okay? It's just starting to heal itself. And I'm saying to myself, what did I do to deserve that? I've done a whole lot of stuff in my lifetime. So I can see Pluto going through Aquarius, calling me to account for stuff I did throughout the course of my life. I broke my leg. I ain't no problem with it. Other good things are happening too. Luckily, Pluto isn't the only planet moving through the sky.
Damn, man. Wow.
So the mighty, those on top, or those looked up to by the masses, are going to be held to account. This isn't just Diddy. Look at Brother Polite. Look at the dude from Carbonation. What's his name?
Nature Boy.
Nature Boy. See, these people are being held accountable for the things that they've engaged in, regardless. Now, it may very well be that later on they're found innocent. That doesn't remove the cosmic law that harsh aspects put you through trials and tribulations.
Yeah, a lot of sexual. All these are sexual.
Pluto is the planet of sex, and Aquarius, in context of sex, deals with unorthodox, unacceptable practices with regards to sex. The pervert, basically, the rapist, the outlandish, the unorthodox, the unusual, the unacceptable. So therefore, Pluto being in here brings all this to light, and it's going to be a lot more than what we've been seeing. It's going to be a lot more for the next 20 years, and you're going to see all kinds of reforms with that regard.
Wow. What do you think about? Well, since you touched on music with Diddy, what do you like cosmically speaking? Why do you think we've seen hip hop dominate for so long? My whole life I've seen hip hop dominate mostly. Why do you think Afro beats? Is there anything in the stars that indicate that sound coming from Africa is starting to be a global sensation, starting to be such a dominant force musically within the world?
Well, hip hop was born while Chiron was in Pisces. Okay, Chiron has a 50-year revolution, and hip hop been banging for like the last 50 years or so, almost 50 years. Right. So and as other art forms that are commercialized and popularized become normal, they become the norm, then an evolution has to occur. And we can measure the evolution of music through the motion of Chiron through hip hop's chart specifically because it has Chiron in the sign of music. And we can look at the planet Neptune to see the changes and shifts in the music and the show business period. All right, because Pisces represents the allure and the glamour of these industries. Okay, now when you take into consideration why hip hop has fallen, is since the very beginning, it's black music. Okay, and it was black dominated. Who was respecting a Caucasian rapper up until Eminem, and they were few and far between. So because it's ours, they seek to sabotage it like anything else we've come up with. The same thing with rock and roll. Music is the #1 inspirational force on the face of the planet.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay, this has been known for centuries, for millennia. This is why the Egyptian priests employed specific sounds, why they built the cathedrals and the temples the way that they would, because they know that the human nature is very susceptible to sound frequency. Okay, so basically, propaganda, the powers that be, can't have such a powerful tool in the hands of the underdog because it can be used to create a trend. Just look at how when Rakim came out putting a 5% science in the hip hop music, in the lyrics, you ain't never seen so many niggas become Muslim, man. You see what I'm saying? They not even having an understanding of Orthodox Islam and the 5% doctrine. They still flocked towards anything they thought was Islamic, strictly because of the music. So when they saw this, they needed to divisively destroy that. So what they do? Start sponsoring niggas. You dig what I'm saying? Putting these screwball, sellout, destructive messages, destructive images, things that tear away at the fiber of a firm foundation in society. They start making it cool to be a killer, cool to be a thug. You a square if you got an education and you trying to get a job. You's a punk ass if you refuse to do crime and refuse to harm your own kind. So this is what they put in the music. And you hear artists speaking out about this. See, the record company won't even back you if you got a positive message in your music. And the more negative your message, the more support you get from them. Well, you have to go see who owns those companies and then realize that the movement is against us as a people. It isn't the music itself as much as it is our dominance of the music. So this is why it's falling. And it's not even a conspiracy theory. It's a fact. Cat Williams, other artists talking about how if you try to say something positive, they'll downplay you, they'll ostracize you, they'll try to convince you to put a more negative, impactful message in the music. And we see this every now and then. Somebody will say something that is offensive to white people or homosexuals, okay? And that gets ostracized. You can't talk about killing them, shooting them, hurting them, or doing any kind of unsocially acceptable activity with regards to them. But you can talk about blowing your brother's brains out. You can talk about you can talk about the women as though they are lowly as hell. All you want, as long as you're talking about our people. So that should make it obvious.
Indeed. Yeah, man. Wow. So in terms of another question in terms of before we go to the AI and all of that, because I know you prepared some stuff with that. In terms of the shift that's happening cosmically and it being reflected down here, we're seeing, Ra, like say a brother like you are becoming just as popular or more popular than the people on television, traditional television. So we're seeing a shift where influencers, like everybody know the young brother Kai Sanat, a deal with Nike. He got to deal with athletes. They used to now brothers he's on Twitch and on YouTube, and he got to deal with Nike. So we're seeing influencers become more popular than entertainers and celebrities. So what is it that an indicator of, cosmically speaking, that we're seeing stuff like that occur?
Okay, technology is the reason for all that. All right,
going into technology,
yeah. You got to understand when YouTube came about. Okay, I think it was the early 2 Grands. Well, it was the early 2 Grands that one of my friends, Everese, came to me and was like, "Yo, you need to check this out. You need to get online." At the time, I was not online, so yeah, it was like early 2 Grands, and he said, they got platforms online where you can make your own movies, make your own videos, make your own documentaries, and post it. And at the time, I'm old school and I'm hard-headed. As much as people think I think flexibly, I don't. Right? So I was like, yeah, I doubt it. They're not going to be able to outdo Hollywood. They're not going to be able to outdo the radio industry was my argument. And I was naive. Okay? And so the reason for this is that these platforms give an individual the opportunity to choose what they want to see, as opposed to it being dictated to them by Paramount Pictures or Sony or someone else. We can now go to YouTube and I can watch documentaries on anti-religion all day. I can watch documentaries even if all the information isn't actually factual. All right. I can go watch documentary after documentary, street scholar after eruditious scholar after actually educated scholars. I can go to Netflix and watch TV. So now we don't need companies to make us popular. We just need views now. We need a platform, upon which to exercise. I never thought that your show has made me quasi famous in Atlanta. I can't even go downtown, step off at 5 Points and walk down to the mall. By the time I get down to the mall, I got somebody saying, Cosmo, out of a car. Okay. So the fact that people can choose their own genre on here makes it so that the average Joe can get on if he's appealing to the demand, regardless of what mainstream education is doing. Right. So this is the reason why brothers like Red Pill, Blue Pill, and all of us, really, even you, okay, are popular in this movement, because people are relying on the internet for their entertainment and education like never before.
Indeed, Rob.
Okay, I'm gonna move forward to just keep going while I'm flowing. All right, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead, my brother. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, but if you think of anything you feel the need to interject, please do, because that's gonna help me keep. That's gonna keep adding to my fervor. All right.
Yes.
So really, it was the study of the ages, the precession of the equinox, and how it applies astrologically that got me to really looking at the trend of technology and acknowledging where it is and seeing where it's been and where it's going. And I believe in my own mind that ignorance is the cause of all subjugation. You know, had you knew better, you'd have never allowed yourself to be put in this position. And that's what the situation is with technology. I hear a lot of people complaining about how technology is taking over the natural, and if we don't do anything about it, we're going to be in trouble, and how the natural essence of the human being is going to be morphed by this, and all of that may or may not be true. What is absolutely true is technology. We are in the age of technology. We are in the age of Aquarius. And therefore, the swing of events as far as civilization as an entire collective is concerned is leaning towards that with enthusiasm. And like when the motor car was manufactured and put on the road, you had people that were still doing the horse and buggy thing. And naturally, the people who had built their livings and their lifestyle and their paradigms on using horses and animals for transportation, they looked at that car, that automobile, and was like, nah, it'll never outdo what we're doing. It'll never take over what we're doing. And look at it now. How many people own horses?
Oh, good point.
Okay. Back then, everybody and their mother at least had a mule. Okay. And now, how many people own horses? The rich own horses when everybody owned horses in back in the day. And back in the day when the car first came out, only the rich owned cars. Now everybody has a car, like everybody had a mule. All right. So if you understand that this is the nature of progress, then you would be well advised to go with the flow or be left behind. Now, if we look at history, okay, particularly back in the 1700s, well, actually further than that, but I'm going to choose a point from the early 1700s. Russia was still agricultural and feudal, okay, while Europe was industrializing. And Russia had to catch up. Japan was still agricultural / feudal. Until I say feudal, not F-U-T-I-L-E. For those of you who don't understand, F-E-U-D-A-L. Okay, barons and what have you, lords and barons and lords and all of that other upper class, upper echelon governmentship under a feudal society. All right. Do you understand that they saw how Europe was advancing, and decided to mechanize and get into the Industrial Revolution. And this that we are experiencing now is a product of the Industrial Revolution. Okay? So let me slow it down here. And let me backtrack a little bit so you can keep up with the astrological issue here. All right? Astrologically, when we look at the ages, and there are several ways to compute the ages. I know people are going to hear this and they're going to feel like the vernal point is in Pisces. We're still in the age of Pisces and all that stuff, right? I don't really want to get into any exchanges about that. I'm using the heliacal point from the vernal point. So if you understand, that's 15 degrees in front of the vernal point, okay? If you understand that, then you will catch a grasp of why I'm saying it's Aquarius and not Pisces. Yes, the vernal point is in Pisces, but the heliacal point or the edge of the sun's corona is the face of the ages as far as I'm concerned, okay? And as far as I'm going to be measuring and elaborating. So know that before you come to me trying to debate when the age of Aquarius is. I'm not hearing that, right? The authors of this calendar and the measure that I'm using are the ancient Kemites, okay? So it's not something I recently made up, you know. They used where a star becomes visible in the sun, out of the sun's rays to determine the ascendant of the age using the constellation, the zodiacal constellation that is in front of the vernal point as the symbol of the age. And that being said, if you do your astronomy, you'll see that Aquarius B heliacally rose in 1453 for 36 years before that and 36 years after. For a whole 72-year span, we saw the Aquarius B heliacally rising, and therefore, from the Egyptian astrological perspective, we are in the age of Aquarius. Now, that in mind, an age is 2,160 years. And it's kind of a long time to just say the age of technology and then right off into the sunset. There's too many years and too many processes going on in that 2,160-year phase for you to just delineate it with a simple one zodiac symbolism. So what do? We do what we have always done with our calendars, and we create sub-ages. Like in a year, we have months, and in a month, we have weeks, and in a week, we have days, and in days, we have hours, and in hours, we have minutes, and in minutes, we have seconds. We do the same thing with that 2,160-year phase. If you look up here, I've done that, okay? If you look up here, I've done that. I don't know how well you can see the numbers and how well you can, but just to show you how we break it up. The blue is the age, is the 2,160-year phase of Aquarius. The purple here, I just got like 720, almost 1,000 years of the end of the age of Pisces here on this board, all right? Because my primary focus was the age of Aquarius, right? When we entered the age of Aquarius in 1453. Now, people are like, wait. Aquarius isn't supposed to start until 2024, according to some, 2058, according to others, 3000, whatever, according to others. I'm telling you, using the heliacal measure, and we can see that the age of Aquarius started in 1453 with the fall of Constantinople. All right. And the fall of Constantinople is used because it was a grand feat of engineering, which Aquarius is the sign of. And that feat of engineering changed the way mankind collectively has engaged in war ever since. So therefore, I think that's a very good marker. All right. There were other events in 1453. This is, they were trying to fly in the Persian Empire. They were working on flying machines long before or 50 years before Leonardo da Vinci. Okay. So they were working on all kinds of artificial means of transportation, of war machines. They created the largest cannon in human history ever created was created in 1453 and was used by the Ottoman Turks against the Eastern Roman Empire, and this is known as the fall of Constantinople, when the Moors overran the Eastern Roman Empire. All right, Byzantium. All right, I think that's what it called, Byzantine, whatever it was called. All right, Constantinople was the city port where they actually sieged the city, and they used that gigantic cannon to bombard the walls of Constantinople so that they can gain access and invade and do all the raping and killing, that they do when it's war. In empire games. Okay? You're welcome, Yaya. All right. So now let me continue, right? With that invention came a whole mechanization of society. It wasn't even 100 years later that Leonardo da Vinci was working on a flying machine, that they started using explosives, okay, which are scientifically classed, astrologically classed as Aquarian items, things that explode. That's Aquarius, okay? Weapons of mass destruction came into play. And with that came the evolution of politics, the fall of monarchy, all right? The decentralization of the power of the church. They've been doing everything they can since the end of the age of Pisces to stay alive. They've even now adopted ideology that they would kill you and your whole family for back in the 1400s, like the acceptance of same-sex marriage and all of this other. They're admitting now that Adam and Eve is an allegory. You got a Pope said this just a few years ago. So when you see how things are transitioning from Pisces, religion, to Aquarius, man-made mentality, machines, electronics, technology, meta, how can I say this? What do they call these things? Metropolises, okay? Because a city is like Philadelphia, okay? It's like Washington, D.C. These places are cities. New York, Chicago, and L.A., them ain't cities, man. These are several cities all clumped up together. These are metropolises. That's an Aquarius thing. So the fact that most of humanity is moving to cities, farmers and farming, this stuff is becoming almost a forgotten science. How many farmers do you have today compared to how many farmers you had in the 1700s? Right? But people are still eating more, and there's a lot more people here that need to eat. You understand? This is what gives demand to artificial food and genetics modified foods, because the population of people are exploding. And this is typical of what Aquarius conveys in and of itself. So being in the age of Aquarius, we are moving from being a maritime people to an aerotime people. We are moving from being an agricultural people to a mercantile people. Okay, and this is why there is even a such thing as GMO food and chemical, artificial processing and processed food, because the demand for food needs to be met. Okay, people are going to be hungry, and the average person in this society and in the world today, in any society, the average person isn't super spiritually or mentally cultivated to exercise some form of discipline which would allow them to transcend what the collective of humanity is doing. It just does not become feasible for an individual to become a recluse nowadays and spend his life in the mountains practicing breathing. That's just going away. All right, because you got to eat and you got to live, and more people are delving into their creature comforts than they are their spirituality. Such is the nature of the age of Aquarius, which makes me question these self-branded experts who come out talking about, this ain't the age of Aquarius and this is. And we can show and prove because of my opinion. Can you show us in the sky and then show us the train in history? I can do that. Okay. Now, want to demonstrate so that you're really not lost. And so that people who watch this show after it's over can get it and get a thorough idea of what I'm talking about here. And I'm sure once I show it to you, if you have the education of a 5th grader, you should understand this right here. Okay? We're chopping up an age into 12s. Okay? Each one of these has 4, right? Okay. It's like a ruler. This is how we measure time. This is the 2,160-year block. Is another 2,160-year block. These are called ages. Okay. Just like we do a year and chop it into months. But when we do that, when we chop 2,160 years into 12 sections, we now have 180-year sections. Okay? And a lot happens in 180 years. So you can't just point at 1.8 centuries and give it one word or one symbol without showing how that unfolds and how it is indicated and comes to be symbolized by such a thing. So you have to break those things down. We break this down into Dwad ages. What we call Dwad means 1/12. Okay? So that makes sub-ages. Each one of these little squares, when we blow it up to this size, becomes a 180-year section. This is what I have illustrated up here. Those are 180-year blocks up here in the blue. Okay? So at the beginning of the age of Aquarius, we enter the 180-year block of Capricorn. This is the sign of industry. This is the sign of feudalism. The color of this sign is black and brown. Okay? And the symbolism of Capricorn, especially within the precinct of Aquarius, represents falling. And if you know, these are the years between 1453 and 1633. That's the 180-year stretch we're talking about that was ruled by Capricorn. In the age of Aquarius, we see the fall of the Moors and the exile of the Moors and the confiscation of their lands. And we see landlords and barons and the Dutch East India Company and all kinds of corporations begin with this Dwadashama, the very beginning of the age of Aquarius, right? 180 years later, we in the Sagittarian subdwad of the Aquarian age. And in this cycle, okay, you have to understand what Sagittarius means first. Sagittarius points to the foreigner, no matter who you are. So if you're a Caucasian, Sagittarius points to the Asian, the African, the Latino, the Hindu. If you're a Hindu, born, if you're born a Hindu, then Sagittarius for you indicates all other foreign people, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Caucasian, the African. If you are African, I hate to be redundant, but I know that it needs to be done, right? If you're African, then Sagittarius will point to the Caucasian, the Eurasian, the Hindu, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Aztec, the Inca, the Mexican, the Mexica. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So at this time, there was more foreign mixing on the planet Earth than any other time. What years are we talking about? From 1633 to 1813. This is when the transatlantic slave trade flourished. This is when the European toppled every country's barriers and opened up the entire world's trade routes. All right, and where the mode of transportation actually changed from maritime, and Sagittarius is the sign of transportation. In the sign of Aquarius, see, don't lose sight of the fact that we are still in the age of Aquarius when we're talking about these sub-ages, okay? So that you understand where you're at. It was in the Sagittarian dwat that Matthew Perry opened Japan and got China to open up his borders. The United States got China to open up for trade, where the knowledge of the Far East was granted to the Europeans as a whole, because we had been known about it. Research the ancient equator, okay? So at any rate, after the Sagittarian dwat, from 1813 to 1993, we was in the Scorpio subdwat of the of the Aquarian age. And Scorpio is a sign of death and murder, okay? As well as medical discoveries, surgery, birth, rebirth, and, you know, all of that, right? It was, and mummies, right? Which deal with dead people, right? There were more mummies unearthed in this section. There were more genocides on Earth committed in history in between 1813 and 1993 than any other time in history. Scorpio represents a genetic code. It was in 1951 that the genetic structure was discovered. And if you subdivide the Scorpio dwat, if you find 1951 falls in the Capricorn subdwat of the Scorpio dwat of the Aquarian age. And what does this say? It says discovery for Aquarius, genetic for Scorpio, and structure for Capricorn. And in that Capricorn subdwat, they discovered the structure of the genetic helix. Even before then, in the dwat before that, which was the Aquarius dwat of the Scorpio, the Aquarius sub-age of the Scorpion dwat of the Aquarian age, they invented the freezer. And Aquarius is the sign of the freezer to preserve Scorpio, dead meat Scorpio, from rotting Scorpio, all right? Or Pluto, if you will, all right? So if you understand that we can map history like this, I decided to look at the future. You know, I did this going backwards for 6,000 years. And because that's all the history that we have, verifiably, they destroyed everything else, right? So we have 6,000 years of solid history. And I use this measure going backwards to see how the signs of the zodiac give indication to the nature of our evolution as a civilized people, as a civilizing force, okay? Because only humanity is civilized. So I looked at it to see the evolution of civilization, and finding that the next one we go into is Virgo. Virgo is the gatherer, the weaver, okay? Virgo is the merchant. So when I see that, Virgo is camps. Virgo is 15-minute cities, because Virgo has Capricorn in its fifth place, template-wise, and therefore building is a primarily Virgo activity. All right, it's one of their famous pastimes, one of their favorite pastimes. And Virgo people born with the sun or the ascendant in Virgo are never comfortable when they're not being industrious. So we look at Capricorn for that manner. All right. So we look at Virgo with that light. When we see now where it's going, as opposed to where it's been, you have to take into consideration where technology is and where it is leading us and how it is leading us. Okay, these are the things that people don't pay attention to, because we too caught up in paying our bills. We too caught up in feeding our kids. We ain't concerned about what's going to be happening in 2089. Don't nobody care. You see right now, not many people care, but the higher ups do. The people in the position of power are very concerned with how they're going to be governing us in 2090 or in 2713. Okay, so what I saw was, just as in the Sagittarius Dwadashama of the Aquarian age, they spread all over the earth, and they spread their culture all over the earth. And people still think that the Europeans' culture is not everywhere. It most certainly is everywhere. Where aren't they using UCC, Uniform Commercial Code? What country doesn't implement the use of Uniform Commercial Code? What modern country doesn't? Therefore, they're all using common law, which all comes from the European. So if you see how that influence has taken root in the age of Aquarius, when we entered the Libra Dwadashama of the Aquarian age in 1993, if y'all recall, this was the end of Desert Storm. And this was the point where Bush made the announcement of the New World Order. Okay? And the nature of that New World Order is Libran. Because all before 1993, when they toppled a country, they would allow that country to put in another puppet government or dictator or ruler, right? Or dictator. And now, before they leave a conquered country, y'all going to use elections. You're going to use Libran government, voting, democracy, okay? Or we're going to continue to bombard you with bombs. So we know that from 1993 to 2173, this policy is going to be in effect. And this talks about world rule, world dominance. And when we chop this age up into 12 little sections to get the 15-month trends or the 400 and the 4,000, let me see. Let me get my math right. The 450-day cycles that are 1/12 of the 15-year cycles, that we can see in that framework how AI has rapidly moved up the chain. All right, now these too many numbers for me to memorize. So I wrote them down. All right. This Libra sub-age that we are currently in is responsible for all of the technological advancements. Why? If you understand the Libra template, for those people out there that have a knowledge of astrology, you're going to understand exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you that don't, you're going to have to catch up here. And I don't have a whole lot of space on this particular broadcast to totally enlighten you. So you're going to have to go follow me on my page. You see my name right there? See my name right there? Cosmo361. That's the same name on Instagram. Go there and follow me so you'll get a more in-depth understanding from my posts and from my subscription page there. All right? Now, Libra, because Libra has the sign of Aquarius in the place of love and entertainment. So the majority of people are peace-loving, which is Libran. Whether you are a Libra or not. See, this here has nothing to do with you personally and your fucking birthday and your birth sign. So get that all out your head when you hear me talking about the signs in this capacity here. All right? We're talking about Libran state of being for a human being. Most people love to be at peace. They don't want to be at war. This is what Libra is. Getting along and relating to others. And this tool, the internet, which is ruled by Aquarius, Aquarius sits in the place of love and recreation. How many people out there when you were single didn't look online for a partner? You see? So the partner is Libra. Online would be Aquarius. This is the new clubhouse. I remember back in 2009, I was saying, damn, I am actually content with staying in my house all day as a recluse. And that the internet allows me to access society without even leaving the security of my home. And I love that to this day. That's what I love about the internet. I can access thousands of people and I ain't even got to go outside. I can even order my food over the internet. I ain't got to go outside. So I can maintain my peaceful state of being. And this is where most people want to be in this sub-age, because that's what it gives indication to. It's time for that. All right? So when you see Libra, that we are in the Libra Dwadasham, you have to also be mindful of the fact that Libra represents government. And they're going to be pushing for one world government. And Aquarius represents knowing and being in the know. The laws of the universe don't change just because we're in the Aquarian age. So as it was for the ancient man who was ignorant as hell and dying because of his ignorance, so is it in modern times that the modern man who is ignorant of his true condition can be taken advantage of and treated as dead, even if he's breathing. Okay? Now, we see that economically in the United States with the bonding of every person who was born and their birth certificates and all that. This right here is going to be a tool used by the government to keep you subjugated if you don't raise your awareness. And that's what I'm doing here, trying to get you to look at what you need to do to raise your awareness with regards to this age that we're in, okay? Because it's not just technology that's taking over. And technology, what I mean by that is technology isn't just the computer. It isn't just the internet. Technology entails everything you use from the food from the stove that you're cooking on, to how you preserve your food, to how you light your homes, to how food is cultivated, processed, and produced and packaged for sale, to even get to your table to eat. If you're ignorant of all these processes, they can do what they want in these areas. So it's important to know where we're going and how we get in there, okay? You have to look at the fact that Aquarius also represents rebellion, all right? The last time Pluto came through Aquarius was 1777 to 1798. And during this time, we had the French Revolution, the Haitian Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, the American Revolution, and monarchy. The rule of kingships on this planet has decreased drastically in the Aquarian age. And if you understand, Leo represents monarchy, and Aquarius is 180 degrees from it, then it would only be natural that democratic, Republican, or democracies and republics sprout out, and that parliamentary government and congressional government come to the fore. Well, they've had enough of that. They want one world government now, because it's much easier to govern the body of people under one body. It's much easier to run an economy as opposed to having all kinds of international exchanges. So that's what they're striving for, and that's what this Libra here gives indication to. And what I made mention of was the fact that technology consists more so than just the internet, just AI. You have virtual reality, all right, which is eventually going to become what they use for prisons. Well, lock your ass up into a little booth somewhere where they can sedate you constantly and you in virtual reality. You know, we saw this in the movies. Where everything I saw in the movies as a kid is happening right now. So for you to say, oh, Rob, come on, man, you reaching, nigga, with all that. You reaching because that's TV, man. That ain't real life. Man, it was 1968. I was watching Dick Tracy as a little kid talk to his partner on his watch, okay? And it was impossible and far-fetched. And only in the comic books, then it wasn't even on the movies yet. They weren't even making movies with these gadgets yet, okay? And now, that shit is more than 40 years old. A watch with a phone in it, and the fact that you can see, you see where I'm coming from? So I have seen how they get you ready for this shit in the movies. So if you're not watching movies with the mind that, you know, this is where they're trying to go with that, this is where they're trying to take you, then you're going to be clueless again, all right? Because all kinds of indications are set before you before it even happens. So, like I said, they have virtual reality. They got augmented reality. And what is augmented reality? Augmented reality is I look at my phone, I look at the couch through my phone. And I see, when I'm looking through my phone, I see the Pokemon sitting right there. And then when I move my phone, he's not sitting there. Okay? That's augmented reality. That's a form of technological advancement that's going all over the place. Okay? Then you got holographic technological. They're trying to do holograms. So there are so many different fields of technology that are booming, that are being heaped upon us. You better be aware of them so you know how to carry yourself through them, because you're not stopping it. All right? The reality is progress is going to be made along these lines. Okay? Man is either going to be made or destroyed along these lines. And the sooner you accept that fact, the sooner you can start dealing with it in the realms of realism, okay, and practicality. All right. So we have genetic modification and Neuralink issue, which tends to transhumanism. And why is transhumanism going to flourish? Because you got people born with genetic defects. They want to seek to undo that. And they want to use that same science to enhance the normal people to become super soldiers, super scientists, super whatever they're striving to be. And because this is human nature, even as a child, we admired Superman, Spider-Man, the Hulk, Thor, Heru, Sutek. It didn't matter. You anything that was above us and more wondrous than us, we admire that, and we aspire to be at. We aspire to run faster. Okay, you can do the 100-yard dash in 9.5 seconds. The fucking coach wants to see you do it in 9 seconds. Okay, and he's gonna be pressing you and pressing you and pressing, because it is the nature of life, intelligent or otherwise, to evolve, to improve upon itself. Even plants do this. So it's impractical to believe that we're going to be able to stop the rest of mankind from doing it. And it would not be favorable to create, it would be favorable to create a commune, but it would not be favorable to create a commune that leaves you stuck in a zeitgeist while the world around you is advancing and you staying stuck in your little time capsule. So you're going to want to keep up with the world. If you look at the African, if you look at the Chinese, if you look at the Japanese histories, you will see where they decided that, yo, we need to get with this race, or we're going to be left behind and we're going to be overcome. Because if you don't advance, then you will be toppled. I mean, this is just the nature of history as far back as you can go. So if you're a truth-accepting individual, you're going to get with the flow and you're going to find some advantage in this. Let me elaborate a little bit more. The Neuralink chip is they say, to help the blind see better. And if they can do that and legalize it, then they can also help those who ain't blind see better. Okay? So maybe you can get a chip now that gives you X-ray vision now. You get a chip that allows you to scan a whole room. I mean, you watch the Black Mirror on TV. This stuff is in development right now. So, and it blew my mind. When I was 36 years old, I went to a party with my friend, and there was somebody there. This is in Washington, D.C. There were people there that worked in the upper echelons of the government that they couldn't discuss their work with us. So we were sitting down, drinking, smoking, talking, kicking the jig, listening to music, dancing, and then, conversing. And then we said, yo, so what do you do for a living, man? He's like, oh, I can't tell you my job, is what he said to me. He said, but I'll give you an example. He says, of what I do. I can't tell you what I do, but I can give you an example. He says, you see that cell phone you got right there? I'm like, yeah. He's like, that technology is 50 years old, and I'm the one who stores all that stuff. I put all that stuff in catalog and put it away. That's what I do. I said 50 years. So that means that the cell phone, they've been using the cell phone. You think that shit just came out in the 90s? They've been using that technology. So the technology that they make free and that they make available to the internet has been in development for more than half a century before they even give it to us. So you already too late if you're trying to stop it. It is the exposure to these frequencies that cause our cells to cause our genes and cells to mutate at that level. Barefoot grounding, enemas, gut cleansing, wearing natural fabrics such as wool, linen, or cotton, as opposed to synthetics. Okay? Eating organic foods reduces static electromagnetic buildup in the body and reduces what is otherwise called antenna toxicity. Filtering heavy metals or by using charcoals and things like that. And then using superfoods like shilajit or other highly nutritionally dense food to replace the minerals that you remove through your demetallizing dietary processes. That's all I got to say about health and all of that anyway. Okay. But when we look at that, the fact that people aren't as tolerant to these new onslaught of electromagnetic waves is what ushers in what science and medicine is saying the need for transhumanist or human augmentation. You understand? See, they know that they're going to have a virtual reality. So immediately they announce that they're starting to work on, what can I say? Artificial eyes for human beings. Why now, at the advent of the, what is that thing called? The Oculus, where the lenses are this close to your eyeballs. You see what I'm saying? Do they feel the need to work on artificial corneas and retinas for the eyeball? Because they know people are going to be engaging in this technology, people are going to be losing their eyesight, and people are going to need this augmented surgery if they want to keep functioning in a society that's ever using electronics and stuff like that to keep moving forward. Okay?
We got 10 minutes left, my brother.
Okay. Well, I went through, I was going to go through the entire timeline of history with regards to the Aquarian age, but there's only a few things that I need to make mention of. It was, since we are in the Aquarian age, every time a major planet, a major outer planet from Saturn to Uranus to Neptune and Pluto passes through Aquarius, we will see the age of Aquarius indications peak up. Okay, we just went through a major transition of Jupiter and Saturn conjuncting in Aquarius, which changed and shifted the entire way that the internet functions. They're getting ready to totally eliminate what's that electronic money? Bitcoin. Okay, the government is going after Bitcoin. The IRS is starting to systematically audit the whole country now. Anybody that makes more than $5,000 a year or $6,000 a year is going to be audited eventually. Okay, this is all because of the Bitcoin explosion. All right, the Bitcoin, you're going to see now that the government can legally create money using this electronic system. They're going to have their own forms of Bitcoin out there, and pretty soon currency is going to be an obsolete thing. So for people who don't really see these changes coming, it was just like our great grandparents when the Federal Reserve was implemented in the United States and gold was removed from the market and they moved to fiat. They moved to fiat means of spending money and transferring funds. But now it's all going to be digital. And within 30 years, or by 2030, I think I got the note here. Hold on a second. I do have the note. By the end of 2024, 75% of enterprises will be operational, will be optimized with AI, according to simplylearn.com. All right. The FDA has approved human trials for the Neuralink. This means that people are going to be using this Neuralink now that is legal for all kinds of stuff, not just to aid handicaps in their thinking. All right. The internet is expected to, 6G internet is expected to launch commercially in 2030. That's 6 years from now, which means that they're already using it at higher levels. So 6G coming into place is going to have an effect on us. So the bolstering of transhumanism, the bolstering of mixing like the bionic man, because that's what the Neuralink chip is all about. It's just like if you remember the bionic man in the 70s, okay? Augmenting the human body and human performance through these machines. Corporations are required both. Oh, this is for people who have an argument against that. You know, you got machines, you got the machine learning and the AI that can read thoughts now. So people are on a great tear about how the computer can read your thoughts. Number one, as it is developed at this point, it needs your consent and cooperation in order to read your thoughts. It can't just simply read your thoughts. So even at this stage, it can still be used for good, and it will not be used without your consent. All right? But you must train and apply the decoder to the machine yourself because it's reading your thoughts. So just like when I look at yellow and you look at yellow, it may be more of a golden yellow to me and more of a brighter yellow to you. The machine can't make that dissemination and needs us to do that. So there will be no mind reading technology that can just focus a beam on you and read your every thought, because they're going to need your involvement for interpretive means. Researchers will be able to create. They have already created a live baby mouse with 2 male mice. And now think about that for a second. They have succeeded already in creating a mouse from 2 male mice. So Age of Aquarius is about perversity, about breaking the natural laws. So they're going to be trying to breed without women or breed without men. Pretty soon, women won't need men to get pregnant, and men won't need women. And what kind of divide will that create in the society? Now, this has already been done. You can Google it. The Y chromosome, this has been done as a result of the Y chromosome being successfully sequenced. So now they're working on the X chromosome. You understand? I'll close it right there.
All right, family. We're wrapping it up now. I'm gonna get to 2 questions from the chat before we get out of here. Give me 2 questions from the chat. I saved the question earlier. I'm gonna get to this one. Where's it at? Okay. What was going on with humanity during the last age of Aquarius? What year would that have been?
Whatever year that would have been 24,467 BC. And we have no historic artifacts or information with regards to what was going on then. So that question could not even be addressed knowledgeably.
All right. Let's see.
Now, the ancient Egyptians had something to say about that, according to Manly P. Hall. Okay? And he called it the Eon of Horus, the last time they had an age of Aquarius. See, but that's not history to me. But I just told you what to look up if you want to hear what somebody had to say about that idea.
They want to know, you talked about this before, but they want to know about the eclipse in April over the USA.
Well, I'm going to be doing an entire presentation on that on my page, so I don't want to spoil that for myself. All right, you can come to my page at Instagram and subscribe. I'm going to be doing that this month. I'm going to be breaking down the eclipse on April the 8th and its significance.
All right. Let's see. Let's get to one more because you didn't get to that first one. I don't want to ask that one. Let's see. What show? Whose calendar are you using? Roman, clock of destiny of the Moors, Ethiopia, Chinese, Jews, Julian calendar, Gregorian, Islamic, or the Kemetic solar calendar?
I use them all. I can use them all. That's like asking me whose screwdriver am I using. I can use any screwdriver that has a flathead or a Phillips head to open up a screw. I use all their calendars. It depends who I'm talking to. The calendar that I use personally is a zodiacal calendar, okay, which usually starts on the 22nd or 21st of March every year, okay? And right now, we're in the month of Pisces, you see, all of that April, March, May stuff is Roman calendar stuff. But really, we're in the month of Pisces, tropical Pisces. You see? So I don't rely on any of those calendars. I rely on the position of the sun, moon, and stars. I even did so in court. Instead of putting the date up there with the Julian calendar, I put Saturn in Aries with the sun at 14 degrees of Aquarius, and use that as a date.
Indeed, indeed. Let me see if I get to one more question. Then we get out. Then we get out of here. Yeah, I seen your email about Holy Ghost 3. I just seen it right before the show. I'm gonna take care of you right after the show. I'm gonna send you that again. The instrumentals and the album breakdown again. All right. Yeah, I don't have a lot of questions tonight. Okay, here's a good one. Why there? I've heard people talk about this before. Why are there only 2 human figures in the zodiac wheel?
The zodiac currently that we're using currently is the Egypto-Babylonian version. Okay, and I believe that there are more than 2 humans. You got Virgo and Aquarius, and what is Gemini? And what is the upper half of Sagittarius? These are all human signs. Go ahead.
Indeed. All right. So with that being said, Rocco, leave your information before we get out of here, so the people can holler at you.
You can reach me any day between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. People are still ignoring that instruction right there. Between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can call me at this phone number right here, 516-881-6992. And I prefer to talk person to person than to receive text. I'm not going to answer texts. I get way too many, and I don't have a secretary. All right? So if you call me until you reach me, okay? Because I stay busy. I am very busy. All right? Call me till you reach me. Call me within those hours, and I'll be glad to accommodate you.
All right. So with that being said, family, I don't know if I'm going to be on tomorrow, but A.A. Rashid will be on Wednesday. So
Peace to the God, AA.
Yeah, peace to the God, AA. He will be on Wednesday, but I'm not sure tomorrow. I'll let y'all know. I'll put up a post early tomorrow if I'm going to do a show tomorrow. But once again, family, it's going down. Let me share this before we get out of here. March 9th. Make sure y'all in the building. It's going to be a star-studded event. We're celebrating the digital release of Holy Ghost 3. We're celebrating at 400 Loyola Drive, Southwest in Atlanta, Georgia, 30336. Doors open up at 8. Make sure you are there on time. Dr. B Sirius is going to be doing a drum ceremony at 9 on the dot. It's going to be paradigm shifting. It's going to be like something you never seen before. It's going to be an amazing event. So many people going to be in the building. I will talk more about it on the next show, but I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Thank Akhu for coming on the platform, and I will see y'all next time. All right, family, we are getting out of here. Peace and love, family. Have a good night. Peace.